Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. You're watching In the Shades of the Qur'an, and our today's topic for discussion is religious slaughtering, arguments for and against. And to discuss this topic, we have with us the founding principal of Al Qur'an Institute in London, Hafiz Sheikh Shafiq Rahman Madani. In the meantime, if you do have any questions related to the topic or even anything in general, please feel free to dial the telephone number appearing at the bottom of your TV screen, and accordingly, inshallah, my Sheikh will try his level best to answer your questions as per the Quran and Sunnah. In the meantime, we are also available on social media network. Please feel free to find us on Facebook or on YouTube channel. Sheikh, before we went into the break, we were talking about the stunning. Before I come to the process of stunning, I just wanted to get a clarification on one of the aspects you have touched upon, the animal. We should be kind towards the animal. Now, is it only restricted to the process of slaughtering, or is it throughout, since the birth of the cattle up until the end process of the slaughtering?
No, kindness to animals, and in fact, for that matter, kindness to every creation,
living creature,
okay, is part. Even to trees and all other things, is part of the Islamic belief.
The reason why I say that, because in the footage that has been out, we have seen the animals were mistreated or ill-treated. They were kicked. They were, in a very horrific manner.
Yeah. These are all forbidden. They're all forbidden in Islam. And even, treating animals with unkindly, for example, animal sports, for example, killing an animal for any reason other than obtaining food is not allowed in Islam.
Oh, we have seen various games.
That's right. All these games, sports games or blood games, as they call them.
Yeah.
These are all, dog fights and cock fights and all these. They're all forbidden.
They're forbidden in
Islam. And this is only because you have to treat animals, birds, etc. In fact, all the elements of nature, all the creation, kindly and responsibly, and not irresponsibly.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now, coming back to the stunning. Now, there are various methods of stunning. We know there are various methods of it. Could be metal bolt, electric shock, injections, gas. So many methods.
Water.
Different. Yeah, that's true as well. Now, does any of the method Islam supports?
Well, there is a mixture of opinions, in fact, in all this. But it seems that it depends on purpose. Stunning is done with the purpose of lessening or minimizing the pain on the animal. But what is not known is that what the stunning actually does, in fact, how it affects the animal. And sometimes stunning causes death as well. Stunned animals are brought onto the slaughter. They are already dead. This is the reason why Islamically stunning is not supported. Although stunning for itself is not forbidden, no one says that stunning itself is forbidden, but stunning leads to the possibility that it leads to death of the animal, and therefore
due to cardiac arrest.
Yes, cardiac arrest and other things, and therefore it becomes unlawful for Muslims.
Yeah, because we're not allowed to eat dead meat.
It's already dead.
Okay.
Also, because stunning is not so sure, what it's called, stunning causes so much of pain, brain damage, hemorrhage, etc.
What about unconsciousness?
Yes. Well, simple unconsciousness is perhaps acceptable, because that's all. However, sometimes stunning can cause brain hemorrhage, brain damage, and many other very serious damages to the animal before it is slaughtered. And these are all very painful. So the Islamic principle here is not to say that stunning is not allowed per se.
Okay.
But there is a possibility, and the Islamic principle here is hita or ihtiyat, that is precaution.
I see.
As a precaution, in case stunning has caused death of an animal, then the animal is died before slaughtering. and therefore it becomes unlawful, haram for Muslims. On that basis, stunning is opposed by most of the Muslim scholars. However, there is a small opinion, people of a small group, that they would say, well, stunning for itself is not, unlawful, is not haram.
I see. So there are opinions, little bit mixed opinion, but
That's
you
right,
say the majority are against this opinion. Now, when it comes to
European Council of Fatwa, I have seen European Council of Fatwa, which is a respected body of scholars and fuqaha. They issued a fatwa back in 1999, I think. Issued a fatwa that stunned animals or birds like chickens, etc., are not lawful for Muslims. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to labeling, should there be a different labeling between stunned and pre-stunned animal?
Well, I think that should be. It should be, because Muslims so far, and I think.
Now, the reason why I said that, because you said one of the groups might allow, there might be some difference of opinion that would allow. So in that context,
always majority is counted, and therefore, I mean, in this sort of
initial
matters,
fiqh.
in this sort of, in this sort of matters, which are new and which are controversial, there is bound to be always a difference of opinion. But what is counted? What counts is what was the majority opinion. I mean, the majority opinion, all the respected bodies of ulama and scholars, they say on the basis of precaution, not on the basis of stunning itself. So there are certain bodies which, I mean, this is how it is differentiated. That stunning for itself, on itself, is not forbidden.
Okay. So that means,
but because of the likelihood that it may lead to.
You did touch on that. So that means the labeling should be clearly differentiated.
Yes.
They should be clearly differentiated.
Right.
Now, we know all domesticated cattle or animals, they're lawful ones, birds, they're within the control of a man, and we know how it needs to be processed. Yeah. What about slaughtering a camel? Is it the same principle and procedure applied, or is there a particular...
Sorry, say again?
Camel. The procedure to slaughter a camel.
Well, slaughtering an animal is called hamstringing it. An animal is not slaughtered through the neck.
Is it for the camel you're talking about?
Yes.
Is it the Arabic term called nahr?
Nahr, yes. Nahr. Nahr means chest.
I see.
So it's is struck. The camel is struck beside the nahr, what they call the chest. The chest. The chest with the knife, and that's how.
So it's a little bit of different procedure when it comes to the other cattle.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you is, the various organizations, when they talk about banning the religious method, the secular organizations or the British Veterinary Associations or so on and so forth, should we not concentrate more on the mechanism of slaughtering rather than banning something?
Well, that's the
or
argument.
Improving the mechanism or method of slaughtering.
Yeah. Well, that's the argument. That's the argument put forward for or in favor of religious slaughtering by those who practice the religious slaughtering. I mean, yes, we do say that the government, instead of banning the religious slaughtering or making it unlawful or prohibiting it, needs to take more time and improve the slaughtering, or conduct some more research into stunning and how, what it causes, what it causes to the animal, the pain that it causes to the animal, and whether the stunning, I mean, nobody can claim until, in light of the scientific evidence is so far available, nobody can claim that stunning is the absolutely true.
There's a debatable issue.
Causing the less pain to the animal. So yes, there needs to be concentration, focus on the government part to improve. Yes, to
enhance the mechanism.
That's right.
Now, alhamdulillah, we are fortunate here living in Britain that it is not prohibited, and we can enjoy all the Islamic means and methods of practicing, especially the slaughter.
Yeah.
There are countries, unfortunately, within the European countries, that halal or religious slaughtering is banned.
Yeah.
So on that occasion, Muslims living in those countries, and if they want to eat meat, what is the Sharia, what is the fiqh rule on them?
Well, it's difficult. It's difficult because studying is not the only issue here.
No, but I'm talking about, like, for example, countries like Norway, Iceland,
No, I
Switzerland,
understand.
where the halal religious slaughter is prohibited.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That stunning, when we say religious slaughtering, the issue is not only stunning, but there are other issues, tasmiyah and tazkiyah. You know, you
that's true.
mentioned
That's what
and
I'm trying to get,
all this before. And obviously, for practicing Muslims or for Muslims, unfortunately, we can't say that an animal that has been religiously, that has not been slaughtered religiously, could be allowed to Muslims, unfortunately.
But what about people who say that Ahl Kitab's meat is allowed for Muslims to be consumed?
Well, Ahl Kitab is if they take the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they don't.
But when you say Ahl Kitab, now that's also a little bit of debatable subject here, because we know people have gone, the other people of Abrahamic faith have gone outside the true message of their own respective faith. Can they still be considered as Ahl Kitab, or?
Well, this is a very relevant debate. Sometimes statistics say that 70-60% of the population who are known by culture to be Christians or otherwise, they do not know who God is, and they have never been to church in their life, and so on and so forth. So long as a person believes, he can be counted as Ahl Kitab, as Christians.
When you say believe, that they believe that particular
faith.
That's
right. I mean, no matter what practice is, practically or in practice, people might be very neglectful. There might be some people who do not practice at all, or who have the least practice, but in their mind, they have faith and they have belief. I mean, those people still can be like Muslims, Muslims who, the sinful Muslims, as we call them.
Or the namesake Muslims.
The namesake Muslims. But so long as someone has the faith, has the belief, doesn't deny the belief, someone is regarded as Muslim. So in the Christian and Jewish faith as well, I mean, those who are less practicing, but still they have belief and faith, they can be regarded as Jews and as Christians, and therefore, yes, they can come under that blanket rule that Ahl Kitab, Zabiha of Ahl Kitab is permissible. There is an opinion. Yes, there is an opinion. Yes.
Now, as I was saying, the countries that have banned the procedure of religious slaughtering.
Yeah.
I have a question on this notion that is not that a clear interference in the freedom of religious practices and belief?
Well, that's what...
especially when we have seen in recent event about free speeches and freedom to preach, practice and propagate the religion. And it's there in the European Convention, Article 19 or with Article 18.
Well, that's what the feeling is. Obviously, that's what the feeling is, that people need to have freedom for their religion and religious slaughtering, particularly when, in light of scientific evidence, it is not absolutely ensured that stunning causes the least pain, and therefore, one other thing here is said that why stunning? Stunning is considered not only on the basis of animal pain, animal getting the least pain, but there are commercial considerations as well.
I understand that. But my question here is, because the organization or the government is banning the procedure, I'm trying to say that it's not that a religious interference.
Interference.
Interference to the religious fundamental belief.
That's how it is seen. Yes.
And as Muslim, how do we respond to this kind of interference?
Well, our response need to be legal. We must not
pursue the legal matter, the legal case. Okay.
And one of the legal, as we have seen in the last few weeks, that there has been a signature campaign, electronic signature campaign.
The e-petition here in UK.
That's right. So that's a pressure group. Muslims forming into pressure groups,
or lobbying the government.
lobbying the parliament, the MPs, and lawmakers in lawful way, the way that is allowed here in UK law. Silence campaign is one of them. You see, so yes, Muslim must be active and must be taking part, must be vocal, and must say, must express their opinions and must express their right of freedom of exercise and freedom of expression, etc., and freedom of religious belief, etc. So that's the way forward. Yes.
Okay. Now, having said that, Ahl Kitab, we talked about the fact that if they are slaughtered by Ahl Kitabs, people who are followers of the Abrahamic faith, either Christian or Judaism. Now, a connecting question to that is, we can have it as you have said. Now, the connecting question could be that when it comes to marriage, now we do have, I've been told there's a particular questions left in the control room, a person who is not willing to come on air, that in that case, can a person marry Ahl Kitab, a Muslim?
It's very it's controversial. It's controversial. Majority opinion is that it is not haram.
But we're talking about a man marrying a woman.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's obviously men marrying women. But
what about the women?
Women cannot marry. Women cannot marry a man because in Islamic law, the progeny, the descent goes.
The generation, the future generation.
Fraternal line. And that is why a woman cannot marry a man, but a man can marry a woman.
And it's not it's not something oppressed, or it's not something.
No, not at all. Not at all,
because some people might think that the women are being oppressed in the religion. So it's basically about the generation, the future generation, as the lineage follows through the dad.
That's right. So even for a man to get married to a Christian or Jewish woman, one has to think about the future generation, and about the differences of understanding, differences of culture and status and religion, etc., and how they are going to reconcile in their later life, in the whole life, with this sort of difference. Practically, experience shows that this sort of marriage then becomes problem. Yeah.
Well, that's from the experience.
Right.
And it's also quite common sense as well. So when we have a car, and if we put a tire of a bicycle and a truck, we know that car won't run smoothly.
That's right.
So it's better and best to marry a person of the same faith. Okay, now coming back to our discussion is, we have the process of halal meat sometime are not labeled. How important it is for us to ensure that the meat which are produced in an Islamic method must be clearly labeled and differentiated.
Well, I think we touched on this already, that I think the law does require here in this country.
In this country, is it required by law? Okay.
Required by law to clearly label all the foods, and the qualities, on the ingredients that they have, and therefore it is for us Muslims to, when we go buying things, for us to make sure that we buy the right things.
So we have to ensure that. Now, even in halal, there are so many other thing issues. Some say we have to only the HMC certified. Others say no, as long as the person says it's halal, that's halal. Others says no, even after the person has said it, you have to ensure that the product clearly is labeled and it says it's halal. How do we make the balance?
Well, it is. There is a sort of grey area in this anyway.
There's no black and white.
There's no black and white things here in this area.
Now, the reason. So why do we have so many bodies then?
But HMC is one good way out. HMC, because they halal meat. Halal. What do you call HMC? Halal monitoring committee. They're a good way out. So, but
do we not have a unified body?
Muslims should be unified, as we all know.
We all know that.
But not only in this area, but there are many other bigger areas in which Muslims are yet to be unified. Yes. Unfortunately, we are not, and we pray and we hope, and we pray to Allah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us all the Muslims to be united in all the matters. Whether it is not only for halal meat, but
in every aspect of life.
Yes.
Because we look for rooms to differentiate, and the unfortunate thing is we get divided in silly and small things.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, the other thing I want to touch, the critics of Islam, they touch on one of the very fundamental issue here. They clearly pick on one aspect, is that animal rights or the religion of minority. Now they have that balance. They say that who should we pick more? Who should we give priority more? Is it the animal right or the the faith of the minorities? How do we convey to them that both are equally important?
Well, we have to bear in mind that there is a background to what is known as the animal rights movements. There is a background to it. Animals have been subjected in the past and still are subjected in various ways, subjected to torture and
there are various occasions we have seen,
and including research, including using animals in research, in medical research in particular. So that has a backlash, that has a reactionary, outburst or expression in terms of, some of the animal rights group developing or growing. We understand this. In Islam, animal have been, first of all, there is a question over whether whether the term can be called animal rights. Do the animal have rights? Do the animal have rights? Because they do not have responsibilities, and so that's another question. So however, even if we agree and accept that animals have rights, but there needs to be a balance, of course.
I believe the animal right has been given to us by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on various occasions. Did he not tell us to be kind to the animals, to be responsible to the animal, to nourish them, to look after them? Is not that the right has already been established before the right has been established in the country or the society that we live in?
This is what it is. That's what I was saying, that in Islam there is a balance. Animals have already rights. There is no way, as I said earlier, that there is no way that an animal can be killed for sports and game purposes or for any other purpose, for any purpose other than food, And there are hadiths in which sahih and authentic hadiths that a person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has let him enter Jannah because he got a thirsty dog drink water. Another lady, another woman, in the past was led to Jahannam, to hell, because she ill-treated a cat. Now these are all instances to show that animals must be treated responsibly with kindness. Whether we call that a right or not, that's a different thing.
Okay.
But there must be kindness.
But at the same
time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed, because هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Everything else in this universe has been created for the benefit, to serve human beings, and that is why animals. Well, there might be differences which animals, but animals and birds have been allowed in all religion, all culture, all societies to be killed and slaughtered for the purpose of food. And therefore, yes, there needs to be balance. There needs to be balance. Humans, we have the debate over, we have one established beyond any doubt, absolutely, that this particular method of stunning or pre-stunning ensures the least pain to the animal, and therefore, on the basis of weak evidences, scientific evidence or no evidence, we cannot. It is unreasonable to press for and to go for banning religious slaughtering, and therefore, depriving one community of its rights, of its religious rituals or ritual slaughtering.
So, having said that, are we not failing then to get our message heard across? Because surely Islam has told us, Islam has given us the guideline, but yet I think have we not failed to convey the message to the people, or to the organization that are trying their level best to ban the religious form of slaughter?
Well, certainly we do have certain drawbacks and shortcomings on our part as Muslims. We do have failures.
So how do we engage?
But at the same time, we're trying to engage. We're trying to engage, aren't we? As I said, we have
the e-petition,
example of the e-petition of hundreds, over 100,000 Muslims.
Yeah,
so Muslims,
yes.
So Muslims are engaging. They are engaged, but we have to understand that differences of this sort have been there, will remain there, and we have to live with it, and we have to try our best to achieve, what we aspire for.
Okay, we're coming to the end of the program, and one of the issue that I would love to share with you is when it comes to the e-petition, as you were discussing, we noticed that it was not only Muslims who were focusing to get the maximum amount of signature in favor of protecting the religious rights or slaughtering. We have seen the people of the faith of Judaism, of Jewish people, working side by side with Muslim to ensure that it is protected, the right is protected. Is not that an exemplary example
of working
a
together?
Demonstration that Muslims and Jewish are working together? Because we see always there is an issue of anti-Semitism, or we hear that Muslims are always being oppressed. Is not this a perfect example that Muslims and Jewish people are working together, and that successfully have signature, the protected right? It is a very great example.
That's right. It is a great example, and on this occasion it is between Jewish and Muslim faith, but there are many other occasions.
That's true.
Many other issues which are common to all faith groups, all faiths, no matter whether Muslims or Christians or Hindus or Jews or others, or Sikhs or others. And yes, religious people, faith practitioners and faith people, they can come together, they can work together in spite of the differences. And yes, this is a great example, and we need, we Muslims need to be aware of this, and need to follow the example. We do have until now we do have a sort of a tendency to be on ourselves.
That's true.
To be a community. Not to mention the ghetto and all of the Muslims are not ghetto. Muslims are not a community within community, but there, a sort of tendency, to sort of remain aloof from other things. From engagement, the word you mentioned earlier. But I think things are changing.
Jazakallah. On that note, I must say that due to the scarcity of time, we have come to the end of the program. Thank you very much once again for being here in the studio and giving us your valuable time. I do know you have a very busy schedule, but yet you have made it.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
Thank you to you. Thanks to you, and thanks to all the viewers of Jazalas for being with us. I hope to see you, inshallah.
Thank you very much. With this, my dear respected viewers, we have come to the conclusion of today's program. One thing we have established, that Islam has established the kindness, the compassion. One of the most important factor when it comes to religious slaughtering is compassion, and animal welfare is the center and core element when it comes to performing the Islamic method of slaughtering. We have various hadiths where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has confirmed being nice, being kind, being gentle to the animal. We have heard from the Shaykh that on a couple of occasions, a lady and a man just being kind to the animal, Allah has led them to Jannah. What we ask is, we have to work together, as we did in this case. Muslims and Jewish people came together, worked together. That's one of the key factors, working together for the purpose of one single common goal. We live in a society, in a community. We have to engage, and most importantly, live in a manner that we can be an ambassador to the next generation, and people who see us can learn from us and learn the beautiful religion of Islam. All of this from me, your host, Qamar al-Islam, for today. Looking forward to seeing you all in our next episode. Till we meet again, وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. السلام عليكم.